Hello, everyone. A very logical day to all of you. And here we are with the discussion of the editorial, a daily discussion that is the editorial of the Indian Express. This is the first one here of 12th of January. Let's see, as we do always, but here we'll be coming up with a little different, on a little different note now. What you have to do is, I hope you are keeping your notebooks and your pencil ready with you so that you are able to write down the meanings or the difficult words also. Yes, but now in this case, today, when I discuss the article, what you have to do is when we come across this difficult word that I have highlighted, I've made it bold, right? You need to write down in your notebook the meaning that you can understand from this passage, from this paragraph, right? The meaning of that word. पहले अपने हिसाब से लिखेंगे, and that then at the end of the this discussion, I'll be coming up with the discussion of the words, the difficult words that I have highlighted, right? So I'll just repeat. जो difficult words mark करे हुए हैं when I'm discussing, उसका जो मीनिंग तुम्हें समझ में आ रहा है वो नोटबुक में नोट डाउन कर लो, right? What you can understand on your own. And after that, later on, I will be discussing the meaning of the words. I'll be giving you the meanings as I did in my previous this discussion, right? So let's see whether you are able to understand the words on your own now. Come on, blow hot and hotter. वैसे एक idiom होता है, blow hot and blow cold. ठीक है, मतलब होता है ऐसे उसी से ठंडा उसी से गर्म. So blowing hot and blowing cold would mean that you are changing your opinion, being very fickle minded and so. वो एक idiom है अलग. But this, the heading is blow hot and hotter. So Bhagwat's comments on Hindus at war and enemies within could turn the clock back on a forward movement he started. Turn the clock back on a forward movement. ठीक है? So turning the clock back, you have to note down. So, reading the lips of the RSS and its chief is fraught with challenge. The RSS doesn't speak much or publicly, and when it does, context is crucial, ambiguities are rife, and much can be lost in translation. We need to understand this sentence so that we get the main idea of the paragraph. Now, what is that? रीडिंग द लिप्स ऑफ द आरएसएस, मतलब आरएसएस जो ग्रुप है, जो पार्टी है, ठीक है, उसकी बातें हमें समझना, मतलब इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आरएसएस इज थिंकिंग, एंड इट इज इट्स चीफ, आरएसएस एंड इट्स चीफ, इट इज fraught with challenge. That means full of challenge. Now the RSS doesn't speak much. Why it is full of challenge? मतलब उसके RSS के दिमाग में चल क्या रहा है, उसे समझना बड़ी दिक्कत की बात है. Why? एक, he doesn't speak much, they don't speak much, और publicly पेपर में भी नहीं देते, मीडिया में भी नहीं आते हैं, बोलते भी नहीं है ज्यादा कुछ, तो उनके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है, that is a problem. And when it does, context is crucial, that means it is important. Ambiguities are rife, that means ambiguities means doubt, right? तो डाउट उसमें मतलब ऐसे एम्बिगुअस सेंटेंसेस होते हैं, मतलब बोला क्या है, इसका मीनिंग ए भी हो सकता है, उसका मीनिंग बी भी हो सकता है, तो यू नेवर नो व्हाट दे आर सेइंग एक्चुअली, राइट? You can't interpret it exactly what they have in the mind. So ambiguities are rife, that means a lot, and much can be lost in translation. Ever since the BJP came to power at the center with a single party majority in 2014 and then swept the 2019 election too, the task of decoding the RSS has become even more arduous and compelling. We have understood what was here, it was a challenge, right? Sarsan Chalak Mohan Bhagwat's interview to editors of the Panchjanya and organizer, both RSS affiliated journals, is therefore a valuable peek into what lies at the heart and in the mind of the Sangh Parivar. A valuable peek. Peek का मतलब होता है ऐसे झांकना, right? Just to peek out of the window. तो क्या है, मतलब उसमें से क्या दिखा? जो प्रॉब्लम थी आरएसएस की बातों को समझने वाली, जो challenges थे, right? This, whatever the interview that was given to Panchajanya, an organizer by Mohan Bhagwat, it has helped the people to understand what lies at the heart of the RSS and in the mind of the Sangh Parivar. ये लोगों को धीरे धीरे समझ में आया, of which India's ruling party is a member. It shows signs of a softening, as on the question of LGBTQ rights and freedoms, but at the same time, it frames a dialogue up of the divide on the Hindu-Muslim issue. ठीक है, तो एलजीबीटी के बारे में वो सॉफन अप हो गए हैं, मतलब ठीक है, उनके जितनी रिजर्वेशन थी, जितने प्रॉब्लम्स थे इस चीज से, उसको थोड़ा सा कम कर दिया, तो दे हैव सॉफन्ड, right? But then dialing up, increasing the divide on the Hindu Muslim issue, इस चीज में वो इंक्रीज हो गए, इस चीज में वो डिक्रीज हो गए, तो सॉफन अप हो गए, right? So now the first paragraph, the main point of the first paragraph is one, understanding what is going on in RCC RSS is a challenge. What has helped it is the interview that was given by Bhagwat in Panchajanya to the editors of Panchajanya and organizer. This interview helped the people understand the take of RSS on various issues. What was found that it has softened up on this LGBTQ point, and it is dialing up or increasing the divide on the Hindu-Muslim issue. ठीक है, तो मेन पॉइंट हमें समझ में आ गई है, चैलेंजेस तो थे, चैलेंजिंग था उसको समझना, अब इंटरव्यू के बाद धीरे धीरे समझ में आ रहा है कि आरएसएस के दिमाग में चल क्या रहा है. नाउ ऑन द फर्स्ट आरएसएस chief's comments, we have found a way to provide them social acceptance. They are also human beings having inalienable right to live. Can be located in a longer process of churn that came to the fore earlier when the Supreme Court decriminalized gay sex in 2018. So ये सारी चीजें दी गई थी, right? So all this has given us a peek. उसने कहा था ना, valuable peek into what RSS is thinking now, on what level it is, right? So this they can understand that this is only an explanation of the point related to what RSS's thoughts are about this matter. ठीक है, तो ये बातें समझ में आ रही है. At that time, and consequently, in a book written by National Office Bearer Sunil Ambikar, the RSS Roadmaps for the 21st Century. This is the name of the book. The RSS broke a silence when it opposed criminalization of the same-sex relationships, even as it maintained its reservation on the same-sex marriage. The same-sex relationships पे उसने कुछ अपनी ओपिनियन दिया था, और सेम सेक्स मैरिज पे अभी भी वो रिजर्व्ड है थोड़ा सा. रिजर्वेशन का मतलब होता है something that is stopping you from accepting it totally. So you have a few misgivings, you have a few doubts, apprehensions about this same sex marriage. They did not say anything outwardly, directly, but then they spoke a little on they opposed the criminalization of the same sex relationship. उसे क्राइम मानना ये गलत है, उसकी मैरिज करवाना अभी आरएसएस ने उसके बारे में कुछ भी अपना मैटर नहीं कहा है. Now, Bhagwat's statements can be read as the RSS taking a small, significant step towards tolerance of a sexual minority that faces popular discrimination. So, this is what can be interpreted or understood from the example of LGBTQ or their opinion about the LGBTQ. What can be understood? That RSS is softening up a little in this matter, and it is starting towards tolerance or being tolerant of a sexual minority. Now, this movement forward is troubling move backward in what Bhagwat said on Hindu society in the same interview. इसका मतलब एक कदम आगे गए हैं एलजीबीटीक्यू के लिए, और दूसरा कदम उन्होंने पीछे हो गया है उनसे. क्यों? About what they said about the Hindu society in the same interview. His statements about a war for over 1,000 years are disquieting for the portrayal of a society under siege and engaged in unceasing hostilities within. तो उनके 1,000 साल से उनका अंदर ही अंदर वॉर चल रहा है, तो इससे हिंदू सोसाइटी के बारे में या हिंदू के बारे में एक गलत ओपिनियन बनता जा रहा है. तो दिस इज टेकिंग आरएसएस बैक, right? He's saying that it is but natural for those at war to be aggressive, and talk of the enemy within can be read as justification of perilous majoritarian assertion in a diverse democracy. This is the outcome of his statement or of his talk. So this is the interpretation, right? And this is the again the interpretation or the outcome of what he has said. So what he has said about this Hindu society means that if he says that, see, the Hindus are at war, they are bound to be aggressive because the war is going on within the society and it is going on since 1,000 years. और इसके लिए ऐसा है, तो इससे the point stated here is that it is portraying a society that is hostile within, engaged in hostilities within, unceasing and in unstopped. He's saying that it is but natural, मतलब सही है, हम aggressive है तो अच्छी बात है. इससे क्या कैसा attitude आ रहा है, right? It says that it is like a justification of the perilous is dangerous, majoritarian assertion in a diverse democracy. His advice to Muslims to abandon their boisterous rhetoric of supremacy is unwise counsel from someone who speaks to the majority community from a position of great authority. So, his advice to Muslims to abandon the boisterous rhetoric of supremacy. That means, do not call yourself supreme. Why do you make such a noise? Boisterous is to be very noisy. ठीक है, ऐसे बोलते ही रहना कि देखो हम तो सुप्रीम है, जबकि ये बताते हैं कि नहीं, ठीक है, हिंदूज आर इन द मेजोरिटी एंड यू आर इन द माइनॉरिटी. So what they are advising to the Muslims is to abandon the boisterous rhetoric of supremacy. It is unwise counsel. That means it is not right to say so from someone who speaks to the majority community from a position of high or great authority. Okay, so because that person, RSS person, is at such a position, at such a level that he is at the top, then he can't say such things to the minority. So according to the author, it is unwise. So this is more so when it is Bhagwat himself who, since his outreach via a lecture series in the national capital 4 years ago, has signaled a sunk glasnost on the minority question. Glasnost is the change that is brought about, right? We have understood it from the first and the second paragraph that the attitude of RSS was changing towards these issues such as LGBTQ, but whatever steps they have taken to modernize or to be open and open-minded, that change has been taken back. They are going a step backwards with such comments coming from the head of the RSS. ठीक है, तो एक कदम आगे बढ़ो, दो कदम पीछे चले जाओ, तो you are actually going into the negative. That is what the whole passage is about. They had talked in the lecture 4 years ago about a glasnost on the minority question. Glasnost is a Russian word. I'll discuss it later. Compare and contrast what Bhagwat has said on Muslims and Hindu society now with his tone and tenor last year, addressing a gathering of Swayamsevaks in Nagpur. Then he commented on the Gyanvapi controversy by saying, "Roz ek jhagda kyun badhana hai? Why create a daily conflict? Let there be no more hunts in mosques for shivlings." Then what did he say? Why do you increase all these problems and conflicts? So do not search for shivlings in the mosques. In 2018, he had said, the day it is said that Muslims are unwanted here, the concept of Hindutva will cease to be, and indicated a reading down of M.S. Golwalkar, who in his bunch of thoughts called Muslims Shatru or enemy. Bhagwat's conciliatory stance in September 2018 came a few months ahead of the 2019 Lok Sabha polls. Now they're coming up with a timeline, right? See, उसने वो जो lectures दिए थे तब बोला था कि क्यों रोज बढ़ाना है झगड़ा and क्यों शिवलिंग्स को ढूंढना है मॉस्क में. Do not do so, right? And this is like in his bunch of thoughts he called Muslim Shatru. तो किसने कहा था? MS गोलवलकर ने. उसकी ही बातों को उसने negate किया, and then the author says that when did he say this? He said all this in a positive context for the Muslims or the minorities in 2018, September 2018, wherein in 2019 there were elections to be conducted. Right? Now, if his warlike comments now are seen in the context of next year's general election, the augury of polarization seems clear. ठीक है, augury मतलब कि क्या होने वाला है? पोलराइजेशन, अलग अलग पोल्स पे चले जाएंगे लोग, इतना एक्सट्रीमिस्ट बन जाएंगे, क्योंकि अभी ही इज कमिंग अप विद सच स्टेटमेंट्स व्हेन नेक्स्ट ईयर देयर इज गोइंग टू बी इलेक्शन, राइट? सो ही सेज दैट सी What we can see is polarization. And then this is disquieting, that is disturbing. Bhagwat should not turn the clock back on a forward movement he threw his weight behind. इसका मतलब जितना मेहनत, threw his weight is again an idiom. When you either throw your weight around, मतलब अपना हक जमाना हर कहीं पे ना, where you throw your weight around. So you feel that you are the captain there and you want to go and tell everybody what to do or what not to do. So what are you doing? You're throwing a weight around, right? But what he said here is to throw your weight behind. तो behind मतलब आप किसी चीज को आगे लेके जा रहे हो या आप किसी चीज को push कर रहे हो. Only then you are behind. Why? Because you need to push something ahead. Right. So now the author says that, see, if the RSS or Bhagavad is had taken a step ahead, right? He's progressing in his viewpoints, in his attitude, becoming more open-minded. Then saying such a statement now in this present times, he's going backwards. So RSS should not do this. तो अगेन एज I said earlier, एक कदम आगे चल के दो कदम पीछे लेना अभी इस एटीट्यूड से इस टाइम पे ये नहीं करना चाहिए. This is what the author would suggest, that RSS should not do this. So the main points we have is, one, understanding what RSS has in its mind or the head has in his mind is a challenge. It became easy to interpret now because of the interview that Bhagwat has given. Right. And what can be interpreted is that they are opening up, they are accepting, becoming more tolerant of, say, a few matters such as the LGBTQ community. Right. So they are accepting something and then have reservations for something. Another thing that they are saying is about the minority group. तो माइनॉरिटीज के खिलाफ अगर इन्होंने कुछ बोला है, हिंदुत्व के फॉर्म में अगर कुछ बोला है, तो इट इज एक्चुअली seen from this statement made now that polarization is there to be in the near future, and this thought is very disturbing. It is unsettling, it is upsetting, it is disturbing. That is disquieting, right? I hope you have understood this. Coming to the hard, difficult words that we have here. Now, see, to turn the clock back was in the first sentence of the subtitle, and it is here in the last sentence. And you can understand now that turn the clock back is to come back to the previous position. Something that is arduous, it is an arduous journey. It needs a lot of ardor, it needs a lot of hard work. So you have the word laborious, or बहुत ज़्यादा work किसमें लगेगा? Something that is difficult. So it was a difficult journey, not a very easy task, not a cakewalk. And then it was arduous. Difficult, tiring, exhausting, enervating also you can write. So something that is taking away your energy is called enervating, right? And therefore it is arduous, difficult. Compelling force. Compel is to force somebody, but it was very compelling. The book was so interesting. I was compelled to read it. I was forced to read it. Now, see, it should be this way. When you're reading a newspaper, some or the other article you will find was very compelling, right? I mean, recent newspapers, padhonge to you know that that song "Natu Natu" got the Golden Globe Award, right? So now, when you read the newspapers, you will find that there are articles written on this, and understand that even if you read one article that is in the Hindu or the Indian Express, whichever article you read, you will find many good words there. ऐसे articles पढ़ा करो, they would be compelling, or you will be compelled to read such articles. And then you will be compelled to note down the difficult words also. So see, you should get into that habit now. जहां डिफिकल्ट वर्ड मिले उसे लिख लो, और ऐसे ही आपके दो मीनिंग्स भी लिखोगे. नाउ सी, व्हेन आई रोट कंपेलिंग, आई रोट द सिंपलेस्ट वर्ड, नो, फोर्सफुल. नाउ व्हेन यू रोट द वर्ड फोर्सफुल, persuasive is also easy. Absorbing मतलब when I talk about the book, I was compelled to read it, so the book was so absorbing. मतलब मेरा ध्यान ही पूरा उस बुक में चला गया, किसी और काम में मेरा ध्यान ही नहीं लगा. So the book was compelling or the book was absorbing. फिर उसने मेरा पूरा ध्यान ले लिया, पूरा कंसंट्रेशन ले लिया. सो आई वाज ग्रिप्ड. ग्रिप का मतलब होता है पकड़. तो वो बुक ने मुझे पकड़ लिया, इन द सेंस व्हाट, दैट इट वाज अ ग्रिपिंग बुक. It was so interesting, such a thriller that I was forced to read it. So now you can understand how these words can be used in various contexts. Now, affiliated a school affiliated to this particular to the CBSE schools में होता है ना CBSE affiliation. Then colleges में होता है, it is affiliated to the UGC or it is affiliated to the to any other university that you would say. So associated, joint, connected, it's an easy word. Dialing up, we could understand from the paragraph if you have written down the meaning. A few words, a few meanings I gave while discussing. So I only needed to see whether you are attentive enough, you are listening to these words and the discussion properly. So this will see, I don't know what you have written, but you have to be honest with yourself. कहीं ना कहीं कोई ना कोई तुम्हें कोई ट्रिक बताऊंगी रोज जो तुम्हें नोट डाउन करनी चाहिए, right? If you are very sincerely, very religiously following this, you will be actually building up your vocabulary. You'll break a leg there. You'll do it very well. You will, in the subconscious mind, you will have all those words. क्योंकि हमने discuss किए हैं, तो वो words हमारे दिमाग में रहेंगे, and it is definitely going to help you in your RCs and in your CR. Right? So dialing up is increasing, intensifying. इनएलियनेबल, एलियन का मतलब होता है कोई और होना, डिसएग्री करना, स्ट्रेंजर होना, वो एलियन होता है। ठीक है, तो इनएलियनेबल का मतलब क्या हुआ? समथिंग दैट इज अनडिस्प्यूटेड. इफ इट इज अनडिस्प्यूटेड इट विल बी डेफिनेट. यू कांट डिनाई इट, सो अनडिनाएबल, राइट? इनकॉन्ट्रोवर्सिबल, इससे ऊपर कोई कंट्रोवर्सी नहीं हो जाएगी, नहीं हो सकेगी. Then we have the word churn. The churn is mix, blend, make, bring out. Churn actually क्या होता है कि how many units does it churn out? Churning होता है वो जब दही को churn किया जाता है ना, मथा जाता है से, तो और then you get the मक्खन out of that. The when the cream or the cream is churned in that way, you will get butter. तो वो churning यानी mix करना होता है या bring out होता है, to make one thing out of the other. Then came to the foray. Came to the foray. Foray means front. ठीक है, देखो for as a root word मतलब before. तो foray यानी front, आगे होना. ठीक है, तो come to the foray का मतलब हो गया जो limelight में आ गया, जो significant बन गया, जो important बन गया, वो. Reservation is to have a little doubt. I had reservations about the new process, right? So, having a little doubt or a disagreement. Disquieting, we have discussed this, it is disturbing or alarming. Aggressive, aggression, ready to fight. It's a commonly used word, but I've still written. Perilous, again, is unsafe, hazardous, or dangerous. Boisterous, we understood while discussing, where the boys make a lot of noise. Understand it in this way, no? Relate it. Relate boisterous with boys. So, boys make a lot of noise. ऐसा sentence समझ लो, right? So, it is boisterous, unruly, very active. Rhetoric is flowery, pompous, showy, you can say, or something that is quite wordy, right? You can say grandiloquent, that becomes rhetoric. Glasnost, as I was saying, was a term that was used in around, say, 1984, 85 or so with Mikhail Gorbachev. He was there in USSR, right? There, it means changing to the better. To the better in the sense कि पहले बिल्कुल एक closed होते थे, right? The countries like the communist countries and all, Russia, China and all. So Russia was like a closed one. Then they comes becoming or not becoming a democracy. It's not a democracy like that, but then at least opening up in the ideas. So to bring a change to become more open-minded is glasnost, right? Therefore, I've written only openness. Conciliatory statements होते हैं बैंक के. If you are following commerce, you would be knowing it. If you are reading literature, you can, or anything, you can use the word reconcile. Reconcile means to patch up. ठीक है, तो पैचअप कैसे होगा? उसे पीस मेकिंग बनाते हैं ना, वो रिकनसाइल होता है। दो ग्रुप्स होते हैं, या तो झगड़ा करते हैं हमेशा, या तो रिकनसाइल करते हैं, पैचअप कर लेते हैं, चलो ठीक है, नाउ इट इज ओके। सो दैट इज टू रिकनसाइल देम, इट्स टू अपीज, टू calm down, to bring down the anger, that is appeasing and assuaging. Augury, it augurs well, it augurs bad. It was there in today's newspaper only, किसी ना किसी आर्टिकल में मैंने पढ़ा है। ऑगरी के साथ हेडिंग ही है, if you're going through the Indian Express again totally, or if you're going through the Hindu also, just reading the headlines also, if you are doing that, see, you'll get this word augury. Augury is something that is boding good, कि आगे बेटर होगा, आगे कुछ अच्छा होने वाला होता है, ऐसा ओमन जो होगा, forecasting a positive thing is augury. Or forecasting is then you augur good or it augurs bad, whatever it is. That means like a prediction or a presentiment or a prescient. You know beforehand, you get to know beforehand with some of the other things going on, कि हाँ अच्छा होने वाला है, ऐसा लग रहा है ना, शुभ संकेत लगता है, ये something good is going to happen, right? So I hope now, if you get all these words, not all the words correct maybe, but at least half of the words, if you've written down the meaning while I was discussing only, then that means you are a step ahead. तुम्हें धीरे धीरे वर्ड समझ में आ रहे हैं, तुम्हें धीरे धीरे आर्टिकल समझ में आते जा रहे हैं. Yes, but I hope you still continue with this daily exercise and benefit from it, right? So that will be all for today. Thank you and have a logical day ahead.